Top 10 Tuesday. Sorry if my voice sounds a little bit weird. I have a small cold and I'm on some medication, so sorry if I sound a little bit bizarre. Apologize. But I wanted to get this video out while I had some time. Spring I think is like the most interesting season for me because in New York we don't really have a spring, to be honest with you. It goes straight from winter to summer and there's no like transitional season. I really hope we do. So my reading tastes in the spring tend to be like all over the place. I tend to read mostly like conclusions of series before summer, but I do have a little bit of everything in this pile and I hope to get to it. Basically, I want to finish most of the physical books on my shelf so I can make room for BookCon and Book Expo. That's the biggest plan. So these are going to hopefully help with that process. So let's get into it. I have 13 books on this list. I will obviously read more, but these are the few that I grabbed. The first book I want to read is Top 10 by Katie Cotugno. This is a arc that I got last year for BookCon, and it is a contemporary, which I so want to read, and I've never actually read anything by Katie Cotugno, but I really am excited to dive into this, and I got it last year at BookCon, so I would love to actually, read it and report back to you guys. But yeah, so this is the first book that I hope that I can read in that timetable. They're contemporary, and it's Love, Hate, and Other Filters by Samira Ahmed, and this is about a girl named Maya, and she's caught between two worlds, expected to be a good Indian girl and then married off to a Muslim boy. But her world is kind of turned on its head when someone commits a terrorist attack and the person has the same last name as her. And this is so politically relevant. I'm really excited to read this. I've heard so many good things about it, and I cannot wait to read it myself and give my thoughts because it just sounds so politically relevant, and I've heard so many good things about this. Came out in January and I've had this on my shelf for a while. Actually missed getting it at BookCon and meeting her, and I'm so bummed because I wish I would have known how powerful this book was going to be, and I will give you guys my thoughts when I finish reading it. And it's All Rights Reserved by Gregory Scott Carossos, and I did get this book signed by him, and he's in a Harlequin teen author, and they had a bunch of authors signing. Amanda Thudi was one, he was one, and two other authors were there, and then Jennifer Armentrout as well. But yeah, this book is another dystopian society where every word or gesture costs you money, and that sounds like such a cool society. And this girl, I think, I know it's a girl. She unexpectedly starts a revolution with an action she decides to make or an inaction she decides to make. Sounds really cool. I know that the sequel's coming out this summer, so I really want to read this so I'm prepared for the sequel. But I've heard so many good things about it, and I really love a good dystopian, especially one that's eerily similar to our world. So this one sounds like it will be right up my alley. First book to last year, and that was The Best Kind of Magic, and this is The Sweetest Kind of Fate by Crystal Cesari. I actually got this. My friend picked up an arc for me and her adventures. But I'm really excited to read this. I love the first book so much. It definitely had a Buffy the Vampire Slayer vibe, definitely a Willow vibe, and I really, really liked it. So hopefully I get to read this soon. It's supposed to be super cute, and hopefully I can fly through this and give you guys my thoughts. This is a book I picked up recently, and it's Tell Me Three Things by Julie Buxom. And this is another contemporary novel. But about this girl, everything about Jessie is wrong, at least that's what she feels like during the first week of her junior year. Just when she's thinking about heading back to Chicago, she gets an email from someone telling them some offering to help her navigate the wilds of Wood Valley High School. It's an elaborate hoax, or can she rely on this for so much and need help? It's been barely 2 years since her mother's death, and because her father lived with women he met online, she's been forced to move across the country to live with a stepmonster and her pretentious teenage son. In a leap of fate or an act of complete desperation, Jessie begins to rely on SN, and SN quickly becomes her lifeline and closest ally. Jessie can't help wanting to meet SN person, but are some mysteries better left unsolved. That sounds great, and I love books that deal with grief. I just finished reading Letters to the Lost by Bridget Kimmerer, and I'm about to start her sequel. So this sounds right up my alley. It sounds like a much more emotional contemporary, and I usually really like those, so I'm excited to dive into this as well. I hope you guys will be interested in my review. 2018 by finally reading a Sarah Dessen book. I have a bunch on my shelf. I've met her several times, so and this is the first book I actually got signed by her, or the first one in her canon that I got signed by her, so I definitely want to read this. And this is just a cute summer contemporary, and I've actually heard really good things about this. I have a bunch of her on my shelf and a bunch more on my Kindle, so if I like this, I will continue reading. I know that I heard from Super Space Chick that her first book that summer was less than impressive, but I've heard really good things about the other book, so I definitely want to read this. And this book is about Coley. She goes to spend the summer at the beach, but she doesn't expect much. but Chloe doesn't count on meeting Morgan and Isabel. Though she's learned what true friendship is all about, she finds her to be his potential, and that just might open the door to her first chance at love. And that just sounds great. And I really am in the mood for some contemporaries recently. I've been reading a lot of heavy books, so this actually sounds like a super cute read that I would love to dive into. But thrown off in March, I did not read as much as I wanted. I've been battling some illnesses, but I definitely am going to read Ash Princess in April. And this is a book that I got from Comic Con, and they were handing out arcs of this, and I was determined to get it, and I did. So I'm really excited about that. And this is a book about Theodosia was 6 when the country was invaded, and her mother, the Fire Queen, was murdered before her eyes. On that day, the caster took Theodosia's family at her land. Her name, Theo, was crowned Ash Princess, a title ashamed to wear in her new life as prisoner. And that sounds amazing. This book sounds so good. Lift up your head, princess. If you don't, the crown falls. And I love books about runaway princesses. I am so excited about it, and I really cannot wait to dive into this book. And I will definitely read this in April. It's one of my most highly anticipated reads for April, and I cannot wait to read it. Got from Source Books, and this is called Furyborn by Clara Legan. It comes out late May, and this is like a dual timeline novel. It follows when assassins ambush her best friends. The Crown Prince risks everything to save him, exposing her ability to perform all 7 types of elemental magic. And then 1,000 years later, Queen Marielle is a mean fairy tale to bounty hunter Alina Ficola. When the Undead conquers her kingdom, she embraces violence to keep her family alive. Now she believes herself untouchable until her mother vanishes without a trace, along with her countless other women in the city. To find her, Element joins a rebel captain on a dangerous mission and discovers that the evil at the heart of the Empress is more terrible than she ever imagined. As Riel and Aliens fight in a cosmic war that spans millennia, their stories intersect, and the shocking connections between them and ultimately determine the fate of the world and of each other. I absolutely love books that go through timelines, and I just think that's so fascinating. So I really cannot wait to read this. This book is a monster, but I really, really want to read it, and I hope to read it before the start of summer because I do read a lot of contemporaries in the summer. That's why I have a lot of big books. But yeah, this sounds incredible, and I cannot wait to read it. The Mortal Coil by Emily Suvada. Now, this is a book that Amy Kaufman recommended at Books of Wonder early January, and it's basically like a biological terrorism book. Sounds so cool. I know that we're getting a sequel, and my friends raved about it, so I had to pick up a hardback. This cover is so pretty, and I might actually wind up keeping this because I really do like this cover. But yeah, it's a thriller and a mystery, so I really don't want to know much going into it. But the minute I heard about it from Amy Kaufman, who basically ditched her husband to read this book, I knew I had to get it. So yeah, I don't want to read the summary because I don't want to know too much, but I've heard really good things. Got from New York City Comic Con, and that's Children of Blood and Bone by Toni Ami Ami. I have heard so many good things about this. She just got named a New York Times bestseller, and I've heard so many good things about it. It's another magic system novel, and it just sounds amazing. If there's a princess on the run, there's a chance you could bring back magic. I am hooked. I am so hooked, and I hope to read this soon. I have so many books on my TBR, but this is definitely one that I really want to read first. My friend Sharky really adored this book and has said so many good things, so I really need to read it my first, read it quickly, and report back to you guys. But I really hope I love it. I even got her to sign it for me, which I was not planning on doing, but hearing people talk about it, I was totally had to get it. So I'm really excited that I actually have this book signed as a part of my collection and hope to read it soon. Book in March, I just don't think it's going to happen. I have a bunch of other review books, but I definitely want to read Heart of Iron before the summer. This is an Anastasia retelling in space. I went to the book launch for this book, and it was so incredible, and I cannot wait to see it. We have some fun cards, and it's about a crew of people. It's a science fiction adventure. I'm not going to say anything more because I don't want to spoil anyone, but I'm so excited to read this novel. You have no idea, and hopefully I get to it soon. I got from Fairy Loot for February, and that was the Hazelwood. I also got this for Owl Crate, but I did wind up trading my Owl Crate for a different book, so I definitely want to read this book. Sounds incredible. It's a fairy tale retelling, basically Alice in Wonderland, but she's going to an adventure to try to save her mother. This book has been everywhere. I've heard really good things about it from reviewers that I trust, so I'm hopefully going to dive into it soon, and I'll give you guys my thoughts. This cover is so pretty. Definitely is going to be in my keep collection just because I really, really like this cover, and I hope that you guys give the book a shot or wait to hear my thoughts. And the last book is a review book that I got a couple of years ago from Comic-Con, but I did get asked to be on a tour for the second book, and this is another science fiction adventure. My friend Justin simply adores this book. So this is the last book that I hope to read before the summer. Let me know in the comments what are some books on your TBR for the spring. I know that's a hard season for me to sometimes pick what I want to read, so let me know what books you think I should be reading this spring. Put them in the comments below, and hopefully I'll try to get to them. But I'll talk to you guys next week. Bye!